Right, we know how much you guys love story times, and we have a story time in relation to a breast dog.
Yes.
So, about 2 years ago, when I was working for my doctor, we had a patient who got a rhinoplasty in Turkey. It turned out good, there was no complications. She went back to get a breast augmentation thinking that it's an easy procedure, it's probably going to turn out great. She was recovering in Turkey for a few weeks. When she came back, she had an infection in her breast.
Yeah.
And it's so sad because this lady has gone through it. So when she went to the hospital, they notified her that that whole implant was infected. So of course, they had to take out the entire implant. When you go back into surgery that quickly, she had so much scar tissue buildup, which kind of deformed her breast, which is so sad. Then they notified her after that that the infection was still present, even being on so many antibiotics. So it just goes to show you that you really have to be careful where you go, who you go to, and make sure you're monitoring yourself after surgery.
Yeah, definitely. You're your biggest advocate, but I
Yeah.
think with breast implants, learning that it's very tricky situation. It's an easy, simple procedure with so many complications
Yes.
that happen. If you get an infection, that's kind of like the worst thing. It has to come out.
Yes.
And there's so many things that can cause an infection. If you smoke, you're at
Higher risk for infection, which leads to
Definitely
necrosis.
don't lie about that on your intake because
Yeah.
you can get an infection and it's just going to cause you so much.
And I think being so lax, okay, I had a rhinoplasty, it went good, I'm gonna go get a breast dog, and maybe you're not paying extra attention or you don't think you have to take your full dose of antibiotics. Like, just because something is easy does not mean that you can just be lax about it. It's very important.
And we don't understand like what the standards of care is in other countries. We know what our standard of care is here, and even then you could still get an infection here.
Very
so
true.
If you're in another country,
You have to get extra cautious.
yeah, and something happens and you're there, and then you have to eventually come back home. You can't stay there forever. Then what happens? You're going to multiple different doctors. That wasn't even the doctor that you did surgery with, and I just feel like that's such a headache.
Very.